What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Code, DC, UPenn's finest, Chris Coacher, CB Coacher Boy. Got another great episode for you guys today. Super action-packed. We obviously got to recap the NFL draft, winners, losers, interesting picks, all that crazy stuff. And then we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, as some teams have been sent to Cancun. Some teams are going to Cancun tonight, and some teams are going to Cancun in the foreseeable future. So we got to talk about a lot. Of course, before we get into any of that, I want to make sure to remind you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss a single upload from any of the podcasts on this network. And then audio listeners, make sure you leave a like, 5-star review, download the episode, comment if you can, follow the show, all that good stuff. But let's swing it to Danny for Summits and Plummets.
Summit. Spring has sprung. Beautiful month of May is upon us in 2 days. It's kind of nice to hear. Month of May has a bunch of celebrations. Got a 10-mile run on Sunday. My mom's getting remarried. I'll be in California, in both of the big cities in California, the second half. So looking forward to the month of May. Really, really happy for the month of May. And you got the playoff basketball. So
I agree. Playoff basketball makes May, and I just so happen to be going to the homeland. So, but that's so secondary. Like, dude, we're gonna be down there in the bar. I promise you. If the Celtics are duking it out with the Knicks, I'm locked in.
You're an hour ahead. Remember that.
Thank you. Let me write that down. Wow, I would have never known. Known. Hour ahead.
Yeah, not behind. You're an hour ahead.
So if I were in Puerto Rico right now, it would be 6:30 instead.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Noted. So,
I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I think so.
So the game would start, if the game's, it's a 7 o'clock start time, it would start at 8 for us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? My phone will never let me down. I get notifications when the Celtics start. So
yeah,
or when any playoff game starts. So
you're good.
Good to know. Good to know. If you have a plummet on this fabulous day, I have to call you greedy. I have to say.
Plummet.
Don't be a negative Nancy now.
Is the way the media treated Shedeur.
Yeah, we can get down with that. Talk more about that.
You know what? We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
But it's
the media might have expedited what the truth was, but the reality is, the more I feel behind it, I can get down with him being a 2nd-round pick, not a 5th-round pick.
I mean, you know how me and Chris felt. I mean, you won't find much bigger fans of his game than me. I deemed him a mid-round talent or a middle of the first-round talent from the jump. And some things, like people picking up quarterbacks, obviously couldn't go that high anymore. But I was like, you know what? I'd be astonished if the Steelers didn't take him with 21, even if you did have a 2nd-round grade on him, because you usually don't have 32 2nd-round grades. Not everyone is worthy of a 1st-round pick, hence why every year there's a bust. But yeah, more on that later. Chris, what about you?
First Summit, I'll be in Costa Rica on Friday afternoon. Well, Friday afternoon, American time. I have no idea what time I'll be over there. But I'll be over there. And I'll be there from Friday until Tuesday. So that is fun. I'm looking forward to that. Celebrating my friend. And, I mean, obviously, his soon-to-be wife is my friend too, but we all went to college together. It's their bachelor and bachelorette party conjoined together all at the same time. I think it's gonna be really fun. Never been to one before. I've never been to a bachelorette party or a bachelor party, so this is my first full lot of stuff. So I'm excited about that. Excited to go out the country. It's gonna be fun. And another summit. My dad's birthday was 2 days ago. So my dad turned 55.
More life.
Yep.
I think my old man getting back to basics.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? When he put that was amazing. But that's actually true. But my dad,
we had a couple Coronas.
That's what I'm saying. Something to hold us. But also too, I will say my dad turned 55, but he's in Canada, so I didn't really get a chance to celebrate with him in person. We were on FaceTime, and my dad's not.
Dad's Drake. I'm kidding.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, everything is really connected here.
Yeah, that actually is
your dad's named Dennis by any chance?
That's funny as hell. I didn't even think about how much that was gonna sound like that. But yeah, he was celebrating. He's not really a big casino guy, but he only plays like blackjack. And he called me. He was like, "I hit 21 on my first hand." I was like, and that's not beginner's luck because he's been there a bunch of times. But he said he lost every hand after that. So, beginner's luck wore off pretty fast, but that was cool.
That's a bad sign because then you gonna think he got the juice.
But he talking about something. Yeah, I lost like the next 4. I'm like, did you left, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I hope you didn't try to like go get your mojo back because brother, that mojo is on a boat.
Yo, yeah.
I know a guy who makes his own mojo.
Look, the casino is not about getting your lick back. You win, they take a little bit of your money. Don't try to get your lick back. Just stay up.
Just stay up, or let the casino get their itty bitty win out of you. Do not let them slime you.
And don't try to be like, oh yeah, bro, I'm hot. You're never hot. You're not.
Don't
unless
be
you
a
are
hero.
physically hot. You're not.
Don't be a hero.
Don't be Tyler Hero in game 4.
Tyler Hero.
So obviously him and Garland had that thing back and forth. They were like, go with Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero was like, you don't play defense either. After seeing what Hero did in game 4, I think I would much rather go out the way Garland did because they were like, nah, because Davion Mitchell said it too. It was like, yeah, we're going to Garland, and then Garland like sat out the last 2 games. I think I'd rather do that than do whatever Tyler Hero did last night.
Tyler Hero did confirm he never said he didn't play defense. He just said he doesn't play defense either. I just want people to know that Tyler Hero did not say that he does play defense. All he said was he doesn't.
He doesn't. And you know what? We love a self-aware king.
I love honesty.
We love honesty in this game. Yeah, but I mean, Heat culture. How about it, man?
Well,
first 10 seed to ever win the play-in tournament, and then get that ass wiped.
The boys won for no reason. Like what?
Just try hard fanatics. So Summit, I think I can say we'll keep it away from basketball because we're gonna talk hoops and we're gonna talk football. So you know what? Summit, I went to a court today. I had off, so throw a cutoff on, went to a court, little tan, little hoops. Here's a Plummet. I have to accept the fact there's no lack of skill. There's no lack of skill. My footwork is still great. My handles are still serviceable to match said footwork. I think I have to start officially shooting like a strong person. I think I gotta get. I gotta get in the film room. I gotta see how Ashton Hall shoots. Is it effective?
Nah, you need someone to hand you a whole watermelon after you shoot.
Yeah.
Yes, I prefer grapes though. But yes, but it's just like there's no in between. I either have to like, we just gotta shoot strong now. I'm afraid. And this is what we've been developing towards though, because I used to be a shooter, and now you get in the weight room too much. Now you got to get to the cup. Okay, and unlike the 6'8" dude who plays up in Boston, I recognize I'm a lot better, around the rim than shooting behind the arc. Unless you catch me on the second game of a long day of pickup, then I'm gonna hit like 5 threes in that second game. It's gonna ruin the rest of the games because I swear I can shoot. So yeah, we're back, but we're not. We're a new player.
When did you hoop?
I drove up to those double rims in Aston, where we went for 4th of July.
That was a while back. Wow.
Yeah, just went up, hooped for like 45 hour maybe, working on moves because Danny's little brother said that he can beat me in a one-on-one. Mind you, he's never beat me in a one-on-one in the 10 plus years we've known each other. Never has beaten me. But he gets some shots in his system. He's like, "Nah, bro, next time we play, you ain't see me play recently." I'm like, "Okay, bro. All right. So when I 11-2 you and you owe me $5 because that's all he wanted to put on it. Me, I said, let's put 50 on it. But I digress. Let's get into the winners and losers of the NFL draft. There are obviously some very obvious winners. I was looking through losers. I'm like, There's not that many that I think I like hate. We could talk about some obvious ones. Danny, what was like an obvious one for you?
What for loser?
Not winner or loser. It doesn't matter. We'll just go through the obvious ones first.
I mean, my biggest obvious one is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's they're landing a top 20 player at pick 30 at pick 32 or 31 technically.
31. Yes.
And then drafting what I think honestly, who is the highest upside of becoming a top 5 safety in the league, just based on his intelligence and his ball skills and tackling ability. In Makuba, landing those two guys. Makuba's going to slide into a starting role. Impact alone, I think the Eagles, like, it was questionable to get rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but now you're getting a guy who's C.J. Gardner-Johnson-esque on a rookie contract for the next 4 years. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's like Howie Roseman said, there's going to be people and names that you don't want to leave, that you're probably not going to be happy with, but they do have a plan going into the offseason, and I think they nailed it. It's not even speaking highly enough about their first round pick, who, like I said, was a top 20 player on my big board, about most consensus big board. So Eagles definitely won the draft just based on the first 2 rounds alone.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think Chris can. I think we're talking most obvious winners. I think Chris is in the best position to, bring us who the next biggest winner is from this year's draft. Hint: birds of a feather.
Oh my God, boy, man! I just hope Mike Green does not go to prison at any point. But if Mike Green stays out of prison, we are in great shape. That was a great draft. Malachi Starks, as y'all know, I was hoping for Malachi Starks at 27, and boy, when they got him, I was so hyped. I thought that was really good. Mike Green, two holes ish. I wouldn't say safety's a hole because they got a couple people back there, but it's a place where you can obviously look at getting younger, having them under team control, all those things, because our Darius is up after this year and things like that. So I really thought that was a home run. Mike Green obviously was a first-round talent outside of issues and things that he was having. So I think getting him in the 50s, where the Ravens got him, is the W. They got a kicker who could kick 70 yards, by the way, towards the end of the draft. I mean, if
and to our knowledge, respects women.
That's what I'm saying. And if Justin Tucker is going to be in Deshaun Watson land, then we needed that. So that was also very important. I think a lot of holes are filled, and I think they shied away from making the picks, the easy picks, right? Going to get a big body receiver, or going to get one of these guys who are big but can't really catch as well, or those things, which I mean could have been cool, but I think what they did was stay true to what they needed to do in this draft, and I really like it as a whole. So I would name him as one of my winners. Even being a fan aside, I just think, like I said, I think they plugged some places where it could be holes, and they also got younger at some places that they needed to too.
Yeah, I absolutely love the pick of Starks. I think, if they were going to go receiver, if you're going for a big body guy, I mean, Higgins.
I wish he was there.
Yeah, but hey, the Texans nailed it. They took both of those guys out of Iowa State. So, with the Ravens draft, though, I mean, you gotta love it. Assuming Mike Green stays, out of the cell, and I mean, Starks is gonna ball. The best thing about Starks, I would say, is that he went to Baltimore, because I question his ability as a downhill safety. He is a tremendous ball hawk and rare man coverage skills for a safety. I mean, truly rare. Where you could put him in the nickel if need be. I'd even trust him on the outside if it came to it. But the point is Kyle Hamilton could play a little bit of that robber safety, box safety. That's going to be a really good duo. That's going to be one of the premier safety duos in the league the moment Starks touches down in Baltimore. And then, as Danny said, for the Eagles, Campbell and Makuba as your first 2 picks of the draft. It's like, Howie's a TikTok drafter. He drafts the big names, the ones that start to climb a little bit later than others. And it's yet to backfire on him. Like, Nolan Smith took a fall. He was like, well, he's still good, and everyone else likes him, so I'll take him. Same thing with Quinion Mitchell, who, took a later rise, went to a MAC school, but it's like, when you start to get nerdy, it's like, well, he didn't play at this school with this production against these offenses. He's like, I don't care. Daniel Jeremiah said he's good. I'm taking him. So good job by them not overthinking. I do want to shout out one more Bird team, though, the Cardinals, who I thought had a really good draft. They got Walter Nolan in the first round. Maybe the higher end of where he was projected to go, but I still think that's a good pick. Will Johnson, clearly, I like what Chris said he had Brandon Roy knees, allegedly. But I think getting him at 47 is a good risk to take. Not only that, they got Danny's guy later in the 5th round, Denzel Burke out of Ohio State, who I like his physicality. I just think he's a little bit too grabby. At least his last season at Ohio State got a little grabby. And if I'm not I don't know if I'm mistaken. Danny, was Cody Simon also one of your guys?
I mean,
or am I making that up?
It wasn't like one of my guys. I liked him, but he's not one of my
guys. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up with something else. But I thought they had a pretty good draft, all things considered. Taking a shot on Johnson at 47, definitely not the end of the world. So
I agree. And I'm gonna go out on a limb, and it's gonna sound crazy. The team that had, by far, for me, one of the most impressive and impact drafts is the New England Patriots. I think that, like Vrabel, this is one of the first years that the New England Patriots came in here and said, we have a plan. We got an O-line. We get a star running back who Tony probably might have took as this running back 2, right?
Trevion Henderson, I think, should have went in the first round, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I'm that high on him.
He basically did.
Yeah, might as well. They fall into the Patriots in the second round isn't the end of the world, kid.
Well, you see players get drafted in running back early second round. Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, all very, very successful. So, nonetheless, they got a really great potential wide receiver. New England seems to be on the up for the first time in a long time. And I was talking to my roommate who's a Patriots fan about this, and he said, just wait. The hatred for New England will come back really quickly. They start winning games. That Tom Brady devil magic that people hated the Patriots will come back. And I said,
I don't know. Drake May is a little bit too likable for me. And
I promise you, he wins a Super Bowl, that man will eventually get hated.
Well, me personally, I never really hated the Patriots, and that could be like I've just accepted the music that Tom Brady is like one of one. And it's kind of also I don't really hate any Boston sports teams because they're like, I don't know, like a cousin removed, I guess. But
I hated the Patriots, but I had a real reason to.
Oh, you had a great reason. You had a great reason. I'm surprised that I'm not a Jordan fan. With what LeBron was doing to me, I could be bitter. I could be out there fighting the good fight for 23 in Chicago, but I'm not
Brady though. Brady's a good guy.
Brady's a goat. What? Of course. I like that pick though. Get your franchise tackle, good mentality. You get a running back. Lots of like there. Probably didn't get like their, smash mouth wide receiver 1, but I mean like Diggs. I'm gonna assume of all people he'll be okay off an ACL. So offense got real juice. Got Vrabel in the building. I like where that's heading. Chris, did you want to shout out any another winner from this draft?
I said the Ravens, the Eagles, obviously winners to me. Who else did I like? I like what Carolina did.
That was going to be my next one. I like that.
Yeah, I liked what they did in the draft. I feel like that they're sold on Bryce Young being the guy that they picked and not like a bust. So I think they've shown that by building around him in a couple different ways, like even enhancing the defense, but also obviously giving him another weapon. I just think they're serious about trying to win, and I can appreciate that for a team that's been bad for so long. But been bad for so long, or just been up and down. I can appreciate them clearly looking like they're trying to go in a direction. May not be the right direction. We'll find it out later, but they're clearly going in a direction, and I can appreciate that. And I think giving your young quarterbacks, I know CJ Stroud, Jane Daniels has shown, giving your young quarterbacks weapons and options before you have to pay them has worked out pretty well for the most part, especially in recent memory. So that's why I like that draft.
Yeah, I absolutely agree because at 8, you're sitting there. It's like, okay, anyone on defense would work. But is the best defensive player available better than Ted McMillan? And the answer was no. Tetero McMillan was, I think, one of the 5 best players in the draft. He had a very solid case. If everything stayed where it was and the Jaguars didn't move up, the Jaguars could have maybe taken him at 5. But they move up. They go get Hunter, which is the right move, I would say. But there's just, and even so, like talking fit versus what, like, in total, in like totality, when we're looking at the grand scheme of things, Tetero McMillan is going to help out Bryce Young, and anything that can help Bryce directly as possible is just more important than quote fit. So I think he's going to be awesome. Xavier Legette, if he can really get the ball skills together, that would be great because he's a really good separator at the next level. Jalen Coker was really good last year. And of course, you have Nick's guy or Chris's guy, Chuba Hubbard. Start, he really picked it up last year. A little bit of Miles Sanders at the end too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Chill on Eagles legend Miles Sanders, by the way.
The greatest number 26 in Eagles history.
Yeah, unfortunately now.
Due to recent events. But another winner I wanted to shout out though was the Saints. Now, the Saints also.
Oh, you think they
maybe
win?
Listen. Okay, they got Kelvin Banks, who's going to be a franchise tackle. Can't go wrong, and I like that they didn't overthink it at 10. They could have took Dart at 10, and this thing would have been miserable. But you get a tackle. You waste a second-round pick on a 78-year-old quarterback. That's not ideal. But he probably isn't the long-term answer. The only thing I can really get mad at them for is that they wasted a draft pick. Trying to pull up the rest of their picks now because there was another one that I liked. Just give me 1 second here. Maybe one pass. Yeah, here we go. So we got Kelvin Banks, Tyler Shook. Again, not ideal. I totally get why people wouldn't like that. But they got Vernon Broughton out of Texas in the 3rd round, which I think them really working on the trenches 2 out of their first 3 picks is ideal because their trenches are abysmal. So that's perfect to me. Then they get Jonas Sanker out of Virginia, who, one of my guys. I think he can play. So to me, they hit on 3 of their first 4 picks. Now, Jonas Sanker is one of my guys, so maybe that's bias. And, Kelvin Banks is good. I'm not worried about him. But, Vernon Broughton, maybe not necessarily the most, touted defensive lineman. But regardless, I see those as a win. I even like their 4th round pick, Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma. He's a very physical player, someone who can get downhill. And that's kind of really just all they need out of linebacker play at this rate. Quincy Riley out of Louisville and Devin Neal, the running back out of Kansas. I'm really not mad at this draft. I know they had a big blunder, but let's look at the Giants draft, for example. We're not going to say the Giants are losers of the draft because they made one dumb decision because they walked out of there at Abdul Carter and practically smacked on the rest of everything. Will we call them winners because of that dumb pick? Maybe I'm stretching it. Maybe calling the Saints winners is a stretch. But I like what they did. I like the clear direction. You're not going to have Derek Carr probably. So your quarterback room is Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. That's like, you know what? We got to throw someone in there with some decent experience. And, we're throwing something at the wall. The season's probably lost. So best case scenario, Shuck is awesome. Worst case scenario, he sucks. And we just draft one of the gajillion good quarterbacks next year. Or you just let Rattler cook. But that's just me. So that might be my reach of a winner, I would say.
That's fair.
Any other winners we wanted to point out? Winners who love winning?
I think the Seahawks had a phenomenal draft too.
Good
I don't want to speak too much about it, but I think the Seahawks get nowhere that value, even worry. just overall, this team seems to be building towards something.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. Chris, any other winners for you?
No, I think I pretty much said them all. I like the Chargers draft too. I think it was just giving the fans what they wanted. Like, y'all want to run the ball, y'all want this, here you go. And I can appreciate that. Like I like their coach. He's a hardball, obviously. But I think they gave the fans what they wanted. I think you can never go wrong with that, especially when people forget sports is about competing, but it's also about keeping the fans happy. And sometimes doing one or the other kind of trumps the other. So
that's so ironic, and I'm gonna lead off the losers with the Chargers, actually. And this is so agenda based, it's pretty nasty. First round pick being Omarion Hampton does fit Greg Roman's scheme, but my issue is you could have just kept J.K. Dobbins for all of that. Sure, you want some fresher legs in the building. I promise you, Omarion Hampton is available next round. He's going to be available next round. The next running back didn't go till Judkins, right?
Or yeah, it was
No, with Trayvon Henderson, like 10 picks later.
Yeah. Like, you would have got one of those really sturdy. You could have got Caleb Johnson next round, who I think these two are the same tier of back, honestly. I think they got similar play styles. Maybe Hampton's a little bit more physical, but he also is a little bit more reckless. And Caleb Johnson is maybe not as aggressive, but he's certainly conservative with the football, and I like that.
Omarion Hampton's a much better pass protector.
That's fair. But what does it matter when you don't get your first, like when you don't use that first round pick on a receiver like a Matthew Golden, who would have been awesome with Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey? That would have been my pick, because you essentially just get a way better Quentin Johnston out of that. Matthew Golden, I mean, he put on an absolute show at Texas this year. So I was just really disappointed that wasn't the pick. Trey Harris isn't the worst pick in the world in the second round. I am just a little just a little concerned with the hands, maybe.
I think he's a perfect receiver for their offense, given what McConkey.
I would much prefer Golden. Maybe it's just like you could have had Golden and a back on the same level as Hampton instead of Hampton and a wide receiver who's inferior to Golden, if that makes sense.
I'm high on Trey Harris. I think he could develop into a high end X receiver.
I think that's fair. If it's all about preference, sure, but I think Golden is closer to Tet than he is to,
I don't think Golden's anywhere near Tet. I don't think he ever will be.
Yeah, I can make the case for you right now. Golden was a better prospect, but
I'm saying player. I don't think he'll ever be anywhere as good as Ted McMillan.
Okay, now what if I just sit here and say Trey Harris will never be as good as Matthew Golden?
That's true, but he's playing on the Packers. He's not going to get enough touches.
He walks in there. He's the best receiver from the gate. So what does it matter? He's the best receiver right out of the gate in Green Bay. Christian Watson can't stay on the field, nor does he have the hands that Golden has. He's also a better deep threat. And Jaden Reed hardly even classifies as a receiver at this rate. And he's also not better than Matthew Golden. So that's just my take on it. Didn't really like their draft all too much. Hit a little bit on the later rounds. Keandre Lambert-Smith is definitely a sleeper. That's a pretty good pick for the 5th round. But otherwise, not exactly pleased with the Los Angeles Herberts.
Yeah. Funny. Yeah, another team, the team that was in the NFC Championship game that I hated their draft was the Washington Commanders. First round, they get an overrated tackle who's undersized and probably will be moved to guard. We've seen bad tackles get moved to guard, and we see how their careers pan out. Not good usually, or if they are good, they're usually not on your team. Mekhi Becton. They get Trey Amos. He's probably their best pick. And then the team goes and gets a receiver after trading for. They have 5 draft picks, and after trading for Debo, they take another receiver. It just didn't make much sense to me that they're taking a third receiver after giving up an asset for Debo Samuel, after their offense already isn't centered around like I don't. Not doesn't make much sense to me. I get getting your guy a weapon, but I think you already had some weapons and the defense was certainly the issue. And when you go protection for Dane Daniels and then a weapon, and then that defense is going to only get older and slower. I'm just not a fan. I think the Commanders fall off heavily this year.
Yeah, so Trey Amos is a good pick in the second round.
Very good pick.
You touched upon that. But not getting like if you're gonna go with that wide receiver 3, if you really want to bulk up on the weapons, Jalen Lane in the 4th. Like you wait till the 4th round to help out your franchise quarterback. Sure, you can say you helped him with getting Josh Connerly Jr., but you passed up on a better tackle who went 3 picks later, who apparently it came out he didn't even have medical issues. So I have to agree. But I do like the Amos pick, so not too much on them. Also like Cade Madrano from UCLA. He's not too bad. But yeah, overall I do agree with you.
Yeah. I just didn't feel like they met their needs overall. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yep. Chris, was there any drafts you didn't necessarily like?
Yes, but I actually liked it because I didn't like it. Shout out to the Bengals for having a terrible draft and not making it worse for my Ravens. Thank you. They got Shamar Stewart, which was a pretty solid pick, I like to say. But everybody else, not really moved. And I think they're the ones who really needed to do the most in the draft. Not the only team, but like one of the teams because they're allotting so much money to a couple players. I think the draft was really, really important for them. And I don't think they showed that in how they picked. Like I said, I liked a couple of picks, but I think for the amount of picks that they had, I think they kind of squandered them away. In my opinion,
I think it's an interesting one. They had because they kind of went into this draft where it's like, yo, we could literally every pick could be offensive line or defense. We don't got to draft receivers. They did end up drafting a running back in the 6th round of the draft. They drafted Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech. Just not a horrible pick, but also didn't get to say this because I was talking too much about Tetero McMillan, but I also did like Nick Scorden as a pick for Carolina. Brings in immediate pass rush help. But I mean, with the Bengals, I mean, I did like Shamar Stewart in the 1st round, liked his intangibles a good bit, but the sack production was obviously a big issue. Demetrius Knight Jr. at linebacker in the 2nd round. That's also not, that's also a decent pick, I would say. That's pretty good value. And I do think, especially considering that Schlesinger went before him, so you could consider it a steal if you just look at it from that way. I could understand not being in love with this class. I mean, Barrett Carter, I don't think is he's not all that. I mean, he's a 4th round pick. He's a day 3 pick. It's not that big of a deal, but and because Joe Burrow is essentially a superhero, you don't really need to focus too much on offensive line. But I would have liked to maybe see them use one of these first 2 round picks on that. But I don't hate that pick. Another draft I didn't like was Cleveland. They didn't make their best pick or person I thought they should have taken until the 5th round. And by that time, he was the 2nd quarterback they had already taken. So it was just entirely bonkers. I mean, Mason Graham's a good player, and you can work a lot of stunts between him and Garrett. And I think that's what me and Dan were talking about. That's more of like Schwartz's thing. He's more ideal for that defense, but for what they got and the level of player Mason Graham is, I'm like, was it really worth not getting Travis Hunter? I don't exactly know.
Especially the Jags might be good next year.
Yeah, and then you reach on Schlesinger at 33, in my opinion, wasn't the 3rd best linebacker off the board behind Walker and Campbell. But again, he fits the Schwartz mold, so maybe I get it, but I don't like his IQ all too much. And Quinshawn Judkins at 36 is I don't want because I know Danny's a Judkins guy and I think he's good, but this is just a bad value pick in my eyes at 36. Like
If you wanted him, take him over Schlesinger, and Schlesinger's going to be there, whatever you think your best running back are available.
Yeah, and the order of them don't matter to me too much, but I just feel like these are two reaches. Trade back, second round. It's much easier to start trading back and stuff once we get to day 2 and 3 because it's like, I think Howie traded back 5 times this draft. He was ridiculous. He actually wanted to. They were thinking about taking Sanders with their 5th round pick. But Howie and Andrew Barrett, cool. He's like, you know what? Jump ahead of me. Go get your guy. Harold Fannin is a good pick, though. 3rd round pick for Harold Fannin. I do have to say I like that. And then your next 3rd round pick, you draft Dylan Gabriel, who I don't think was going to go before the 6th round. Don't think so. Dylan Gabriel, I think I'm a little bit bigger. I think he's okay. Think he has some UFL star potential to NFL backup potential, but I mean, you got to be kidding me! A day 2 pick on him,
Chris.
I don't think any team in the league had a day 2 grade on Dylan Gabriel.
I busted out laughing at the bar.
Yeah, like we're watching the draft, like we see Milroe go, we're like, okay, like sheesh, like Milroe makes a little bit of sense. He's the 4th quarterback off the board,
bro.
And then the Browns draft.
The funniest thing was happening. The funniest thing was happening. Freddie was like, "Dang, Shedeur hasn't been drafted yet." And I was like, "Nope." And this was right before the Browns pick. I'm like, "But the Browns might take him right here." I was looking at my phone. Dylan Gabriel came across. I said, "He's actually not a better quarterback than Shedeur." Like I'm not even as a fan because I was saying like you could. I was getting talked into Jackson Dart being QB2 because it was like he has this and that. Okay, like if you take him as the 2nd quarterback on the board, cool. Tyler Show. He's 87 years old, but people liked him. Okay. Dylan Gabriel off the board, and it was round 3, right? Am I tripping? Round 3?
Round 3. 3rd round, a day 2 pick on Dylan Gabriel.
W for Dylan Gabriel. W for you, young man. W for you. But for
W for you, young man, but you might not be on the team by September.
That is a fact.
Unfortunately, because you weren't picked out of, we like you a lot. You were picked to make an example out of the guy who's going to start over you, which is, what are you trying to prove? Like, who are you trying to fool? I don't know. Dylan Sampson's not a bad pick in the 4th round, but I just call them losers because you drafted a quarterback ahead of the guy who's probably going to be your starter, and you didn't get Travis Hunter, and you could have had Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, and then you probably would have been like America's team for people like 20 and under, and people who age very well mentally. Like, because think about it, most people your age, I'll even say like 25 and up, are like, oh, those antics, the rapping, all prime time, bro. They're bad for the game. And all of this stems from Deion Sanders busting your favorite team's ass 30 plus years ago. That's all it stems from.
Swear to God, that's all it comes from. Like, so like the people who are my age and like a little under or like a little over. Bro, I don't like how Shedeur is flashy. You don't like the person who sounds like who looks like all the rappers that you play. You don't like that as a person, but it's sticking to you because you're a long time, you're a long time Saints fans. And when Deion was on the Falcons, he spanked you up. So now you don't like his son. Like, that's what it sounds like. It's like people were saying they should have did him like they did Bronny. I'm like, this is almost worse. Bronny is 55th. That is literally
like if Bronny went undrafted, none of us are batting an eye.
Nope.
Like, it's like, medicals, bad year at USC because of said medicals. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Just Shadeur's a better prospect.
Shedeur Sanders falling to the 5th round, falling to day 3 of mind bot. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And we're all getting number 2 jerseys for show, or whatever number he ends up wearing. And on everyone's soul, we are getting Shiloh Bucks jerseys.
That'd be heat. Not a Browns jersey. I'll get an orange creamsicle Sanders jersey. That's cool.
He ain't cracking the team. We'll get Shedeur shirts though, because I
Tez Johnson.
Your allegiance is too strong. See, the Browns got nothing to do with me. I already have a Browns jersey in my crib, so
Kenny Pickett.
You got that Manziel.
I'll get a Kenny Pickett Browns jersey.
That's so insane that you would spend U.S. currency on Kenny Pickett before Shador Sanders.
Starting quarterback.
Oh,
Kenny Pickett for
shout out Kenny though. Pretty sure the only white person on the team who didn't go. So clap it up. Any other losers that we wanted to talk about, like the Niners or?
Did the Niners even draft? What did they do?
They did. But they were not exactly interesting. I do have to admit. Let me see.
Bad. It was all defense.
While I'm looking for that, I do want to say it was super cool that Warren Moon is embracing Cam Ward, letting him wear the 1, showed up to his press conference. I was about to say the dumbest thing ever. I was about to say first black quarterback since Warren Moon showed up to the team, like they didn't have Vince Young all those years ago. But I don't know, Marcus Mariota is. But yeah, the Niners draft. I mean, Mykel Williams is it's not a bad pick. I like Mykel Williams, but I can see why people didn't like that one. Uptown Stott in the 3rd round. I wasn't a fan of that. Nick Martin in the 3rd round. Not a fan of that. It just seemed like a lot of reaching, if you ask me. Jordan James in the 5th wasn't bad. But yeah, if you ask me, just a lot of reaching by them. Nothing that will immediately impact the team besides maybe Mykel Williams. But that's all I got to say for that. Any other winners, losers that we wanted to talk about? Or should we transition here? All right, yeah. Let's transition to some NBA basketball. Let's start in the East as one does.
Sweep.
One of the series is already wrapped up. The Heat have been swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that brings me 2 questions, friends. 1, what do you think the Miami Heat need to do in the offseason? And number 2, do you feel any stronger about the Cavs because they did not play with their food? Not only did they not play with their food, they finished their food and said, you know what, line it up. If they could line it up for 4 more with this team, they say, let's do it.
I do not feel any different about the Cavs because they played a bad basketball team.
Okay. Very well coached, but bad.
That's a very bad basketball team.
I give a team credit for not playing with their food. I have to because I see teams do it a lot more than teams who don't.
I don't know. Sometimes the food isn't even fighting back.
I know plenty of instances where the food is fighting back. The Orlando Magic is the strongest food of all time. They're fighting hard.
They're actually
food poisoning, dude. They are the pizza that got delivered to Jordan's crib in Utah.
And I wish it was me who delivered it. Ah, boy. I would have said, you know what? This is extra special for you, Mike.
What were you going to do? That reminds me of the clip that Paulo has. He said, time control, that's cool. He said, but someone like me, you can't give me time control. It might get scary.
What were you going to do with that?
What were you going to do, Mr. Paulo Bencaro? Yeah, I guess I agree. Maybe I think that the Cavs could okay, because I was talking earlier, like, oh yeah, the Bucks. You know, Giannis, best player, he could beat the Cavs. Whoever see the Cavs in the next round is getting smoked. But how will they stand up to the Celtics once they inevitably meet? We will see. The Heat. Now, what do we think the Heat need to do this offseason? If we're talking guys who we probably won't move on, Bam Stan. Khalil Ware was great this year. He's got it. We'll keep him around. Is everyone else expendable?
They defined a 1. They defined a 1 because heroes are 2.
A 1 as in a scoring option or a point guard?
A 1 as in player. Tyler Hero's a 2 as far as like a 2 on the championship. I think Tyler Hero can be your second best guy if you have a stud number. Like if Giannis is there, I think Tyler can be a
stud 1 with a filled out roster, which is doable in these
And I think
days.
that's valid. And I think Bam needs to be your 3rd guy. Your best defender, obviously, with your 3rd guy. And I think right now the reason why they can't succeed is without Jimmy there, Tyler's 1 and Bam's 2. They need a number 1, like an actual Giannis, KD, not necessarily KD at this age, but they need a number 1 guy. Because I think Spoelstra's one of those coaches to where you give him that type of piece, he'll be right back into contention just because he's gotten the most out of getting 37 wins out of this team when they were having the Jimmy issues, all the injuries they were having, and not really having a clear 1. I think that's a really good job, and I think it shows that after a little bit of shuffling and getting a guy, I think they can be back. But that's what I think they need to do. And I think they need to really just take some of those guys that you weren't going to because they're not Heat culture guys. If Ja Morant becomes available, you go get Ja Morant. That's what you do. You go get him and you bring him to Miami and and he's your one now. Something like that. Not necessarily saying Ja Morant, but something like that. I think you need to stop shying away from he's not our type of guy and go get a guy. And I think they'd be fine.
Yeah, for a team that, I mean, relatively outside of a 12-year, or not even 12, like a 6-7 year span, you guys are losers. That's just me. Because otherwise, I mean, they haven't won championships recently. They made a couple to get absolutely destroyed by the best player in the world in each of them. I don't know. And that was with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, with a little bit of a more well fleshed out roster, you could talk me into he could be the best player on a championship team, at least at that time. So yeah, I agree with you. Stop being picky. You aren't some great NBA franchise that you try to speak into existence as much as you try to, convince everybody Heat culture was a real thing. We're a great franchise. No, you are not. You are a big bundle of mess that Eric Spoelstra has to save every year. So I agree with that one. Let's move to the 2-7 out east, though. Magic got a game off Boston. I originally had Celtics in 5. You guys talked me into 4, and I immediately regretted it because the Magic got a game. What's your thoughts on that series going down? I mean, the Celtics play about an hour from where we're going, so your takes on that might not be evergreen, but the Celtics have a chance to move on to the second round for the 4th consecutive year.
For the 79th time. But I think I'm proud of Magic. With KCP out there shooting with his kneecaps and everything else going on, for them to even get one game done. The KCP was brought over there to be a shooter, and I swear to God, he could not be there, and they'd probably be in the same place. But I will say his better leadership, you could tell, that is a real thing, and I want people to understand that it is a real thing, and I think he's been really good in that. But I think for this Magic team, with their clear deficiencies and not having Jalen Suggs, getting one game is an accomplishment. To me, I think that is pretty good. Jamal Mosley's an elite coach, in my opinion. I really like Jamal Mosley as a coach. I really, 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 really like Jamal Mosley as a coach. I've never really been a fan of Franz. He's been okay this series. But like I call JT's biggest hater, Franz, you're creeping in that category now, brother. You're creeping. You're creeping. But yeah, I think they're a pretty good team. Just ran up against the best team in the East. That's just what it is. Yeah, but I think getting the game is an accomplishment, and I hope they go. I hope this. I think I said this before we even started the playoffs when I was like, I hope some teams lose early so it forces them to make the moves that they probably should, like the Magic going to get a score like a Kobe White or something to that effect. I hope this is one of the things that pushes to that. Like this, let's use Cole Anthony and Jonathan Isaac's contract that aggregates to 30-some million and go get a guy that can score, and we see what happens there.
Yeah, and Franz has been great this series, in my opinion. The only issue is I wouldn't even blame him, is where they're getting into these late shot clock situations because their offense is so like
Paolo Franz dependent.
It's literally BC, like it's before Christ. Like those who attended Jesus's birth could draw up better X's and O's than whatever the hell they're doing. And then they were kicking it out to Franz Wagner to shoot these late, shot clock threes. Fellas, he's the worst three-point shooter on the court aside from Wendell Carter, and he has a hitch in his jumper. KCP.
What is that hitch? That was not here before playoffs. What is that hitch? He was not doing that before the playoffs. I have no idea what that is. What is
not sure. But I heard this on Numbers on the Board. This is a great reference. KCP, you better be 0 for 20 before you start swinging the rock. Because we brought you in to just shoot. That is your only goal, is to shoot and apparently lock up Kristaps Porzingis on the post. But
put Cole Anthony's brain in KCP, you'll be fine. I promise you.
Yeah. You have a guy who can shoot. Maybe he hasn't been that good this year, but we know can get hot. And then a guy who's just completely relentless. Paolo Banchero has been phenomenal. The Celtics, this is pure like, hey, Paolo, have your 40. You won't beat us though. We will not. If you beat us, so be it. Won't let anybody else do it. and has been vice versa. The Celtics, who are known for ball movement, getting threes up, leading the league in assists per game, aren't doing it. The Magic do not want to double. They are so set on, you know what, Jason Tatum, if you're getting ready to put us in isolation, you better be able to stick with it. The problem is that Jason Tatum is one of the best isolation scorers in the NBA. And will go down as one of the greats. So not your best option. It's been working on Porzingis, though, I have to say. Law of averages, he'll get him back hopefully next series. But I have to give credit where credit's due. Derek White has been great in his isolation moments. Again, not necessarily the guy you want someone to size somebody up, but definitely not bad. Jaylen Brown's been pretty solid this series, as always. Hasn't been on too much hate in time, I have to say. But the most credit obviously goes to Jason Tatum, getting to the line at a phenomenal rate, back-to-back 35-point games. The only person with a longer streak of 35-plus point games in Celtic history. The sixth best basketball player, in my opinion, Larry Bird. So, sixth greatest basketball player. Let me not say best. That topic has been consensus lately. But yeah, Dan, you got any words on this Magic series besides Paulo the GOAT?
Yeah, like Chris said, they're poison food. Feels a lot like a team's just giving some fight, and they know they're gonna get beat. They don't got their star power, so.
Yeah, I threw this comparison. It's like when I'm watching Tatum and Paulo go at it, like I can't help but feel like I'm watching Pierce and LeBron all those years ago. The only problem is you almost, I don't want to say swap them. Paolo Banchero is just more skilled than Paul Pierce, but I think swapped athleticisms maybe. Like an athletic Paul Pierce and a not so athletic LeBron. That's kind of what it feels like. And of course, Paolo's getting jumped right now. So he's getting jumped bad. And the worst part is the best player between the two teams is on the other team. Unlike with Cleveland, LeBron was the best player, but then like the next best five players were on the other side. So
y'all know who Paolo is? I was talking to my friend about it. He's 2025 version of Chris Webber. And
I like that.
After Fab Five, Chris Webber, and like Kings Chris Webber, it's probably one of the most skilled power forwards ever in the NBA, like for a fact. Shooting, passing, he can do everything. And Paolo's like that, but the 2025 version, because he extended to the three. He's an on-ball playmaker where he can drive and make plays, not just like make the next swing pass. He can do the drop-off passes. I think Paolo's and I feel the Bron comparison too. That's my other one, but I think he's really Chris Webber in 2025. And I think Chris Webber today, he'd be what Paolo was, probably just a little more rebounding, less assistant, but the same type of thing. That's what it reminds me of so much.
Yeah, and I think Paolo specifically, I mean, we're talking like first 2 years, we're looking at Paolo. He's not a great defender. He really can't slide those feet. But hey, this series, he's sliding those feet. So that's something to really look forward to.
And when you work out with JT this summer, it's turn.
Yeah, come on. Duke, we can link up, except Wendell Carter. You stay in Orlando.
Yeah, Wendell, you actually go to North Carolina, and you go do something.
We're 4 games deep in this series. What does he do?
Foul, shoot threes and miss, and then he does get rebounds every once in a while, but
like I'm watching him, and it's just not a genuine trait that garners you to be on the floor. Like if Mo Wagner was healthy, I don't see a reason why you're out there.
I would be playing Goga over him anyway. And imagine the Magic had a stretch big who could shoot threes. Oh wait, they traded him to get Wendell Carter. Imagine they had,
and he'd be a little older at this rate, but dang, Vooch can still. He shot
40% from three. That's all you need. And those late kickouts, instead of it kicking to Franz, is Paolo and Franz kicking to somebody like Vooch, and he can make an open three. At least make Porzingis think about guarding it out there. At least.
I present to you one problem with Vucevic. If we were just drop him into this series, Tatum has been headhunting Wendell Carter all series. I don't even want to know what he's going to do to Vucevic. But that's all hypothetical.
Because you want that more than you want Porzingis posting up in the middle of the lane for 14 seconds shooting turnarounds on 6'5" guys. So I'd rather Jason Tatum do that than watch that nonsense. He's better than that.
Well, let's move to the 3-6 matchup where Game 5 is on. By the time this releases, the Bucks may be eliminated. None of this conversation will be evergreen. I don't blame you if you want to skip it, but you should still watch. So Dame's out for going to be next season too. Torn Achilles. It's an absolute heartbreaker. Dame wasn't even necessarily the make or break in their lone win this series because he hasn't been playing great, but he's Damian Lillard at the end of the day. You're gonna respect him. I can't explain enough that even in game 2 or game 4, they were still a lot better. And the sole reason is somebody must have kidnapped Darvin Ham and said, no, Taurean Prince, you are going to the bench. And it's I've always been a fan of Gary Trent Jr. for a very long time. I think he is a good defender. He can get hot from 3. He will just do what you need him to do. I would really love for him to stay and be an OG for Kevin Porter Jr. Not saying that's Kevin Porter's future role. I'm just saying if he can adapt the little things, he'll be in a good spot. As we speak right now, Bucks are up 15-5 in the first quarter. But what are your guys' thoughts been on this series? We obviously had that big win by the Bucks in Game 3 that maybe we thought was changing the tides of it all, but that might not be the case.
Man, I think it's Jover. It's over for the Bucks. You saw the look Giannis gave. I think they're gonna get rid of Giannis now too. With no Dame.
That's a weird way to word it. Get rid of Giannis. No, Giannis is leaving them.
No, I mean it's getting rid of Giannis.
I get what you mean. It's just like one doesn't simply get rid of Giannis.
I mean, you get assets back. You're gonna get a lot of assets back. Is the thing.
Giannis, get ready to learn strip clubs and wings. You are Houston Rockets.
You know who I genuinely believe would be a better partner with Giannis than Damian Lillard?
Embiid and Maxey.
John Morant.
Jason Tatum. A guy who loves pick and rolling to death, pick and popping to death, switching. I'm pretty sure Luke Cornett and Jason Tatum have the #1 pick and roll success in the NBA. Let's take out the lovely Luke Cornett and throw in a top 2 power forward to ever play.
LeBron takes the minimum. And then Giannis to LA. Giannis and Luka link up on the Lakers.
I may be interested because if Giannis goes to Boston,
Luka likes pick and roll too.
If Giannis goes to Boston, that means Jaylen Brown's in Milwaukee. I can get behind that, actually. Yeah, let's do it. Send Jaylen Brown to Milwaukee so we can rock.
So there's one reason for that. Jaylen Brown need to see Kevin Porter Jr.
Perfect. Keep them on the same team. Make them practice together. Perfect.
So,
he said he need to see him.
Of course, Jaylen Brown would be in a trade. It's funny enough, on Danny's birthday weekend, we actually talked about a hypothetical Jaylen Brown and Giannis trade, which is pretty funny. But again, never say die, of course. But I have to feel how Danny feels. I mean, 3-1 seems so insurmountable when just a Mitch. It's a mismatch of rosters. Giannis is far and away the best player in the series. He's the best player in the Eastern Conference. But 1 through the rest of the roster just may belong to Indiana. Or at least 1 through 7, I could say. Halliburton, Siakam, Mathurin, McConnell, Turner, Naismith, Nembhard, Walker, even top end, like just those dudes aren't flat out unplayable like some of the dudes on the Bucks. There are dudes on the Bucks who they just wouldn't play on a lot of other teams. Is my thing. So hopefully the Bucks can win tonight, though. Not ready to see Giannis in Cancun just yet. If they could push it to 6 games, get it back at their crib, anything can happen.
I do want to let y'all know, though. A place I'm thinking about for Giannis that's kind of like not sleeper, but they have so many assets they can make it happen and still keep a couple good assets and the relationship. The Raptors. The Raptors
wouldn't be bad.
Because he has the USI connections. You see what I'm saying?
My only problem is it's just who would you have to trade? Because you don't want to trade Scotty, of course.
I think you damn near – you try to make
Barrett would have to be in there for money, of course.
No. Remember, Scotty Barnes' extension kicks in next year, so you'll need Scotty and then another 12. You can really realistically.
But do we want to trade Scott, like if Giannis is on the Raptors right now,
They stink so.
Yeah, like how much better are they?
I think if you can keep Scotty and you play Giannis at the small ball center, like I've been crying for 2 years, like KG did towards the end of his, I think they make the playoffs in this East. They're better than the Heat for a full season, like a full
Man,
season.
Paul George matched the contract. We send you Quentin Grimes. That the Clippers pick
and Max
come ball. No,
Paul George matched the contract. So here's the thing about the trade: the other team has to want to do that.
No, unfortunately, Danny, Paul George, you are a Phoenix Sun, and Brad Beal, you are a Philadelphia 76ers. So you went from bad contract and bad player now to bad
to worse contract, worse player,
and 1 year left though. So you get out a year, 3 years early. W.
And then you ship Beal to Milwaukee 3-way.
Yeah, there you go. And then instead of getting Giannis back, you get back a whopping Pat Connaughton and Bobby Portis, which helps.
It does. Better than
a little bit. I take that better than Brad Beal or Paul George today. I swear to God.
Yeah, both those brothers stink. Those are two worst contracts in the NBA. But let's move to the 4-5 matchup before we go to the Western Conference. Knicks find themselves up 3-1 on the Pistons after a controversial Game 4 ending. Pistons blow both at home. The Pistons stole home court advantage when they beat New York in Game 2, and then these last two games, you could call it immaturity, you could call it lack of experience, just bad ways to lose these games. Chris, what's been your thoughts on the series so far? What are the Pistons' chances of coming back? What have you thought about Cade, the Knicks?
My son Cade has been special. Just like I knew it. I told y'all years and years ago. I knew it. I knew it when I seen him here before Oklahoma State. No, he's just what a big guard should be, dude. He's punishing people. He's getting people involved. If Malik Beasley didn't go literally ice cold for the first few games, I think they, even with the blunders, they still could damn near win some of those games. But also I think too, even the Pistons with the blunders that they had, I think the veteran leadership, again, Schroeder, Beasley, Tim Hardaway, Tobias Harris, they've been damn near winning the series for them. Like K's been a constant, but those rotational pieces, being able to contribute has been huge. So for me, like I said, the blunders hurt, which is why they're down in the series. But I don't think the Knicks are just gonna close out tonight. I think if the Pistons win tonight, it goes 7. Because the Knicks are so Brunson dependent. Like he has the ball for 20 seconds. And if it's not Towns or Mikal Bridges, that kick out at the end has not really been successful. If the Pistons could score more, they'd be in way better shape. But yeah, I think the Pistons have been good. But I think I still go my prediction with Knicks and 7. I think it goes to 7. But I'm proud of what they've done. But again, like I said before we started, hopefully this shows them that you need a number 2 with Cade, not just Duren as a sig, but a center, but maybe a number 2 would be helpful. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good. I did want to say Brunson could not have responded in a better way in Game 4 after what everybody was saying in Game 3 and Game 2, where he's unbearable to watch, and which can be true at times. But I mean, he goes out there, drops 30 plus on 2 free throws. I mean, hey, like I can't say no. I can only clap it up for him. I do also want to shout out Tobias Harris, having a really good series.
Yes, indeed.
Didn't have a good Game 3, but had a good Game 4. Had 18 points, 8 boards. And just to see a player who just spent the last 5 years getting so ridiculed by, a fan base who expected him to be a 20-plus point per game scorer or whatever, when he's sitting in the corner all game, but now he's embraced that role in Detroit, and it's been awesome. The passion, he had and won in Game 4, and he was just screaming. Like I was like, I love seeing him passionate. He looks so passionate. He makes me want to buy a J. Cole vinyl. Certainly have ulterior motives on that, but
it's almost like Tobias Harris is a good basketball player for your team, and you want him on your team when he's not making $30 million to do that. It's almost like that.
He's an assassin scorer. He was totally worth the contract.
He's still making good money.
Yeah, but not $30 million a year though. That was the problem.
He's making $25 million.
Oh damn it! It is 25. I thought it was 25 over 2 years.
25 million, but he's way just more engaged.
I thought it was,
and that's because his role is more realistic on this team. you know.
Bro, he making $26 million actually.
Oh well.
Also, $26 million on the Pistons when they don't get free agents is a little different than $26 million on the Sixers when you're supposed to be a wingman for Embiid and Maxey. But I thought it was $26 million over 2 years though. That was my fault.
I think playing next to Maxey and Embiid is hard because you are automatically getting the third most shots, and that's just kind of his thing. So it's like, I don't know. I digress. Let's move to the West.
Start with the 1 seed.
Yeah, got to. Oklahoma City takes care of the Grizzlies. Relative ease. The Grizzlies kind of found something in that first half. An accident, Lou Dort slips. Happened to be in the way of Ja. Just very unfortunate. And then the Thunder come back. They do all this, and Shea didn't have a Shea series. And not even to say he didn't play good. He played fine. It's just like, wow, that wasn't like the MVP of the league I saw all year. How scary is the Thunder going forward for whoever's got to see them next?
They're the finals favorites. As they should be. They should be favored over Boston. They should be favored over any team they play. This team is the most complete. I think against Boston it should be a 50-50, but I think that's the only team in reality the Thunder might pose a threat. Get posed a threat too, honestly. I think to me they should be like 60% favorites against the Cavs. That's how good they are.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of upper echelon. Like they are the only threats to each other, to put it that way. If either of those teams don't reach the finals, I'd be very disappointed.
Cavs?
Very disappointed. No, the Celtics. Well, that's the thing with the Cavs and Celtics. You're both expected to go to the finals, but one of you are going to be disappointing, and one of you will have just met expectation. That's the tough, unrealistic thing about the NBA when you're good. So, just want to update y'all. 30-13 at the end of the first quarter. Bucks are up. Tremendous. I mean, solid minutes without Giannis to close the quarter, which is an amazing sign. Can't express how important that is.
Yeah, Jericho Sam sighting, by the way.
But yeah. Yes.
Super funny.
Horrible dunk.
Great
ups, and just not a good dunker.
What's so funny you said that as he called an alley-oop. Like that's so funny. You literally said it exactly.
You remember he did the thing with the net.
No, it was horrible. That boy said.
So the Thunder are fine. They're advancing. No need to, harp on them. Grizzlies. What do we do? What do we do?
The question is unknown. So
your hands are tied, man. You pay Bane.
Do we get assets for Ja? Do we get assets for Jaren Jackson Jr.? Desmond Bane's trade value is probably the lowest it's ever been. What do we need to do? Do we need to run back a whole season with this new upgraded offense, with it's running through Ja a little bit more smoothly? What do we do?
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of
wait, what? Mikey Williams committed to play for Sacramento State.
I think Shaq just went there. I'm pretty sure, how many alums are there?
Yeah. I think that's mostly why. I think his sons went there too, right? Shaq's older son transferred there.
Yep. Sorry, that was a little off topic.
The one with the heart surgery?
No, not sure. He's the
baby, right the
now.
baby.
Yeah, the littlest one. I think he's like a sophomore in college right now, which is crazy. I remember him being like 8.
Dude,
yeah,
all the nephews are growing up.
Washed, but yeah, I think the Grizzlies have to. Yeah, lay in the bed you made, because at this point you pay Bane money that nobody else probably would. At this point, you're going to have to pay Jaren Jackson more money than you probably would like to. John Morant's probably your best way to move him, but I don't think the city of Memphis is going to react too kindly. I don't think they're going to Luka mode on that. But I think they're going to actually respond too kindly to Ja being moved, because out of everybody who turned their back on Ja, the city of Memphis never did. So I think they're just in a place where you try to package some of the role players that have been playing so well in your star's absence and try to get another guy or another piece or something like that. But I think their hands are pretty much tied. I don't know where they go.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I think the Grizzlies are they have options in the offseason. I don't know, especially after you fired a coach. So the options are completely open because you're not really tied to anybody. So interesting spot for the Grizzlies. I don't think they're really much fun to talk about because this team is
they're in limbo.
Yeah.
In limbo.
So the team that is fun to talk about is the one that's beating the Lakers.
We're skipping a series here.
I don't know. I mean, I always thought I didn't know we were going 2-7. We can go 2-7. It's fine.
We did that we just did that for the other conference. You have like the memory of Dory, which checks out.
I remembered.
So why wouldn't we do that for the West? 2-7 Rockets Warriors. Warriors get a big win in Game 4. Protected home court. Got a chance to end it in Houston tomorrow.
Better team.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's my nephew as much as he is yours, Chris. But Jalen Green has been he's been rough.
Boy, been bad, and I am.
And there are real people, who get to breathe the same oxygen as us, who would hesitate to trade Jalen Green for Devin Booker. And look, you're delusional.
But I love Jalen Green. But I swear,
love Jalen Green.
I would drive him there
Booker.
myself. I would drive Jalen Green, and then whoever you want, Jalen Green and Tari Eason, get in the car.
Need you there faster. We'll get you on this first class.
We'll drop you off. And it's not even because Jalen Green sucks or anything. It's just he just hasn't taken the step fast enough, fast as the Rockets as a team has. I think I would say that. I think he's like a step behind. I think if he's on the K trajectory where he's not at his peak, but he's like, you can see he's getting towards that or starting to work towards that, I think then this wouldn't be a question. But I think he's just taking a little bit longer than the Rockets are as a team. So I think it's time to strike with irons hot. If guys are available that can expedite this, if Devin Booker's available, you go make it happen. Because you literally, if you, for the most part, are swapping Devin Booker and Jalen Green, because they have guys who don't play. You have Jalen Green, Ken Whitmore doesn't play as much. A first round, a top 5 pick in Reed Shepherd who doesn't play as much. You have assets you can put around to where it can be almost like a seamless move of Devin Booker to Jalen Green to Devin Booker. If you're the Rockets, you got to take advantage of that. And if you're the Suns, you damn near do it too, because you're getting a lot of young assets, picks, and those are things that you don't have. So that's my thought.
Yeah. Series over, Danny?
It's over.
It's sad. It's
done
sad,
for.
Man.
And I had the Warriors the whole way. I said the Rockets are this up-and-coming team. It's going to get bounced early, unfortunately. And it felt like the Warriors series to lose, just going into it. So I'm glad. I'm glad to see Steph and Jimmy succeed. And Draymond, I guess.
If someone has to.
You could throw him in there.
Nah, Draymond can go eat shit. Just a horrible person, bro. I do not like him. Like, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt for years, like accident after accident. I really like this podcast. It's just a horrible person. Like, it's
donkey. Yeah, get buddy.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
And no
weird, buddy.
You want to see? You know what? Keep hoping that Butler and Curry win, because when Tatum erases all his demons come June, we'll be there. But yeah, it's disappointing in the Rockets, but in the same breath, it's kind of like the same thing with the Pistons. Like, they're a little bit more like, okay, Şengün is like really good this series, but like we got to get a 1. Where the Pistons need a 2. The Cade can be the 1. We already know that. But it's like Şengün being your 1, it's a little bit different. Now, it's not like I think you could win a championship with Şengün as your second best player. I think so.
Devin Booker or Giannis is your 1, 100%.
Exactly. If you have like a megastar 1 or like, a superstar 1, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. They're not too far off. One of the best coached teams in the NBA. Or maybe you just, hope Amin Thompson turns into Giannis overnight. But yeah, that's the word on that. But we could get to the Lakers Timberwolves series like Danny was asking for.
It's over here too, unfortunately.
Wolves are
Lakers
up 3-1.
I'm not one to write LeBron James off. This is not the Lakers team. I don't think he can come back down 3-1. LeBron James isn't Superman right now. He's not gonna drop 50 points and carry his team to wins. And it's unfortunate because he can't do that even if he wanted to. Because this Wolves team it's matching well for the Lakers, and it all falls back on Luka, and I think if the Lakers really want to first like you need to build around Luka if moving forward.
Yeah. You have the default build around Luka because he is the future, but I do have something to say. This matchup specifically, wouldn't you really like to have Anthony Davis? The Wolves are getting their stuff off. Jaden McDaniels had a 30 ball, all going to the hoop, all attacking Jackson Hayes at the rim, or whoever it may be, beating someone off the dribble. On top of that, not only do you not have rim protection, there's a guy who lets people just walk right down to the lane. And he's world pursued consensus top 5 player Luka Doncic.
And the crazy part about
escorting guys to the court.
Bro, the craziest part about the Luka thing is he's a reason why the rim protection is so ass. Like, if they're getting free runs at the rim, it doesn't matter if you have a King Olajuwon down there. Somebody's going to get dunked on every once in a while because these are the best athletes in the world. So when you have some – and the thing is, when they're picking on Luka, it's coming from every part of the perimeter. It's from the right wing, the left wing. You can't pre-rotate because you don't know where he's going to be on the court. And my thing with Luka is, bro, this is my thing about Steph. Steph isn't a good defender, but Steph tries. So you're going to pick on Steph, but at some point you're going to stop because he tries. And he's bigger and stronger than what he looks like. Luka is big and strong and doesn't try, bro. If he tried, be in way better shape. And my thing about not trying is, yes, I get they play those second half. How are you tired? If you're literally only shooting and playing offense, how are you tired? How? And you're in the prime of your career. How are you tired?
Zach Lowe put it great.
Oh, yeah, the way Zach Lowe's one of my favorites. Period.
He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. And ESPN will not see the pearly gates for what they did to him.
Yeah, Zach Lowe and Scott Van Pelt are probably two of my favorite analyst personalities ever because I think they just keep it as real as they possibly can. But Zach Lowe was right, bro. I think it's just – and watch. And to Zach Lowe's point, these next few games, I'm pretty sure he's going to try. If they win Game 5, I think it goes to Game. If they win Game 5, I think it goes to Game 7. And
do you feel that way about all of the 3-1 series? If the teams that are down can crack a win tonight, do you think they'll all go to 7?
Because of the teams they are, yeah.
Do you think the Bucks maybe not?
I think the Bucks do. I think the Bucks do because the next game is at home. Role players playing good today. They usually play better at home. Pistons, I think, are just gritty, so I think they can. And y'all know I'm a Bron fan. I'm not gonna go against Bron when I don't have to. If anybody can come back from 3-1, I've seen them do it. Which I mean, different Bron. I get that, but I won't shut the door on it. But I don't think y'all can win Game 7. But I think they can push it to Game 7. I think the Lakers could win Game 7.
I get that. And it's a little different than like Brian Windhorst calling you out because everyone's quick to clown Brian Windhorst because he's tubby. He's not the worst basketball mind, though, but you don't take him seriously for whatever reason because people are stupid. But when Zach Lowe calls you out, the big-brained aspect, the respected side of the basketball community is not like, whoa, Zach Lowe said that? Zach Lowe, of all people saying that means like, yo, you're about to get turned on. Like Luka's about to, like you already see it over the timeline. Why do we have Luka ahead of Ant consistently? Why do we have Luka over this player consistently? I'm not praying on the down ball. I'm just saying whenever a player gets compared to Jason Tatum, it never ends well for them, and you're witnessing it live. Pascal Siakam, Ben Simmons, Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic. The only player that he really hasn't tackled is Shea. And we'll find out in June. So that's all I got to say about that. It's looking rough. I want to shout out Julius Randle. I think easily the best playoff series of his career.
You've been balling.
He's been great. Both ends. Got to clap it up. And last but not least, Clippers, Nuggets. Jokic airball erased from history because Aaron Gordon is amazing. It seemed, we got a masterclass from Kawhi. Game 2, they steal a game. They come back to LA, they walk Denver. And it's like, wow. And then the Clippers make that storming comeback. And it seems, and they tie it up. They did everything correct except box out Aaron Gordon. We're 2-2. Heading back to Denver.
I had the Clippers tonight. I got the Clippers winning a game in 7. I'm going to stick with my guns here. Picked the Clippers before the series started. I think the Clippers can get it done in Denver.
I'll say in my opinion, if they win tonight, I think they'll close it out in front of the wall.
That would be dope.
That's just me.
Clippers and 7 was my original pick too, so I'm down with that.
Yeah,
and I think they're the team
that series is just great. It's just great,
and I think they're the team that gives the Thunder the most run for their money. I think the Clippers are just built to. Whoever Ty Lue person is, you're welcome for listening to me and playing Ben Simmons at center. Thank you. You're welcome. But I think that they're just built to give every team that's left, that's a really good, like the Celtics or Thunder, that is built to give them trouble. They have wings, they have bigs, they have superstar, they have star. That's pretty much everything you need. So Clippers are dangerous. So if the Nuggets could take care of the Clippers, Thunder got a free route to the finals if they could take care of the Clippers. My opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else we wanted to harp on before we get on out of here?
Nah, I do think this NBA playoffs have been great so far. Looking forward to conference finals. I think there where we'll see it's like Final Four basketball. Not even trying to say Final Four, but this year especially, we'll see more Final Four chalk it up kind of basketball
type shit. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Oh, and one thing I do want to say before we got here, shout out to the Tennessee Titans for making a great undrafted choice in Jalen Kimber. He did not get drafted, but he did sign a trade camp deal to the Tennessee Titans. So hopefully he makes the team, so I can buy a jersey and go support.
Next great NFL story, me says.
Yes, I'm so excited. But when it happened, bro, just seeing my old coach and everybody just so excited for him, it was just a cool moment to kind of be a part of from afar. Like I said, I know him since he was a young pup at literally 5 years old. Now to see him chasing his dreams, kind of cool. So I just want to shout him out before we got here.
Salute. All right, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, follow the show, 5-star review, all that good stuff. AP No Freezer, Culture by Amigos, DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.